Was so far gone and I didn't want to lose this relationship so bad. I remember calling her parents. As soon as we get in the car, my heart would just start beating and it would just be full of anxiety because at that bar drinking, I was like, holy f***. Like if this is the rest of my life, bro, I might as well just like give it up here. Seeking pain in the gym, seeking pain in the wake-ups. Don't you want to be a father that your kids can look up to, or do you want to be a loser that vapes and smokes weed and beats his meat? What is going on, guys? Back again today. For those of you that are new here, my name is Ivan Compres. I'm 20 years old and I run an online fitness coaching business where I help men transform their lives and become their best versions. You know, I've been learning a lot about myself and learning a lot about how much I've grown, you know, and what it takes to truly grow. I think back to my life a year ago today, and it was around August, and I remember this was around the time when I traveled to the Dominican Republic. So I traveled to the Dominican Republic last August. I took a trip there. My family, my grandparents are from there, and I had a girl at the time. I was with the girl at the time, and I remember she went off to school, and right after she went off to school, I had planned I'm gonna go to the Dominican Republic for a month, 2 months. I was working a remote sales job at the time, and I was like, I'm gonna go out there, stack a lot of cash, come back with tons of money, right? And so I flew out there, everything was fine, she went to school, it was fine for like 2-3 days. And then we just started getting into arguments. You know, this girl was arguing with me, I was arguing with her. You know, we were trying to figure out long distance. We had never done it before. We were together for like a year at that point, and we never did long distance before. So when I went to the Dominican Republic, she was at school. It was kind of like a new experience, and arguments just started happening. You know, we were each trying to kind of embrace our own paths, but also kind of prioritize the relationship. We were kind of controlling each other because, you know, there's a lot of trust that's needed when you aren't, you know, with each other physically all the time. And even me personally, I was guilty of that I was trying to control things too much. And, you know, it didn't work out very well. You know, I remember being out there, I was taking sales calls, and in between sales calls, I was texting her and we were just arguing over text. And it was just boiling and boiling and boiling. And one day, I think it was probably like my 5th day out there, like it hit, like we got into a massive argument, huge argument. And I remember she was like, I'm done with you, like this isn't gonna work, like never talk to me again, like I just don't think this is gonna work. So she's like literally basically breaking up with me over text. And I remember I tried calling her and I would talk to her and she was just so mad, and she would just hang up the phone because I would try to like talk to her and be like, yo, it's gonna be all right. And then I would say something that would piss her off, she'd hang up. And then it was kind of just a back and forth over text. I would try calling her, I was like, just talk to me. She wouldn't. And it was just back and forth over text. I remember her texting me like, you have like 2 hours and then I'm blocking your number, like I'm never gonna talk to you again. And then I was like, so what was this all for? I remember being like, so we've been together a year and this is what you do? And then whatever, she was basically just going back and forth, gaslighting me, and me being soft and me being like a dweeb at the time. I didn't realize my value, so I was just giving into it. I was texting. And I just remember like crying. I remember breaking down and crying. Like, this was in between sales calls. I was supposed to be calling people and like dialing numbers, and I was literally just crying and sobbing. I felt as weak as ever. I remember being in my office at my grandparents' house on the floor crying. And it got to the point where she was like, I'm literally about to block your number, like this is say your goodbyes. Like it was some crazy, like looking back on it now, it was so stupid. Like me now would have just been like, okay. And I would have just went on with my life because I understand that, yo, life is way deeper than that. But, you know, when you're in love with somebody, you don't really realize that sometimes. But I went through it for a reason. So I remember it got to a point where like I was so far gone and I didn't want to lose this relationship so bad. I remember calling her parents and telling them what happened. And then they were like, I'm gonna try to talk to her and see what's up, because she's probably just bugging, she's probably just having a hard time being long distance. And I remember like feeling so down bad. I remember feeling like, yo, I had to call this girl's parents just to kind of like try to fix things. And so I called her mom and her dad, and I was like telling them what happened, and they were like, yo, like, you know, it is what it is, like don't feel like bad, you haven't really done anything, you've been great to our daughter, whatever. And I was just like, yo, why am I this down bad for somebody? Like, what the hell am I doing, bro? Why haven't I just said okay and moved on with my life? I'm so much more valuable than that. And I remember just being a wreck. remember being a wreck, and then I called my parents, and they were kind of there for me. I called my brother. I clearly called everybody I had. And this was at the time when I didn't really have a lot of brothers in my circle. I was kind of the only person that wasn't in college. I was just starting up, kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I got into sales. I wasn't even doing fitness coaching yet. And I just remember I felt so lost. Like my family had seen me so weak. I was literally just sobbing on the phone with them. And I felt bad for my grandparents because they hadn't seen me in so long. And while I was there, I was kind of just a wreck. I was a shell of myself. And literally, I was just a loser at that time. I was a loser. I was still engaging in vices. I literally remember I was just vaping while I was down there, which was making it worse. And I just felt like shit. And I remember, like, when I was there, I wouldn't have service on my phone outside of the house. So I remember I'd go out with my grandparents, and as soon as we get in the car, my heart would just start beating, and it would just be full of anxiety because I was just afraid, like, of what was gonna happen. I was like, yo, what if this is the end of the relationship? What if she never talks to me again? What if she cheats? What if she breaks up with me? Like, I was just literally just so afraid. Like, I'd literally leave the house with them, and we'd go out, and I would just be constantly, like, checking my phone. I'd be like, where's the Wi-Fi? Where's the Wi-Fi? I'd be looking for the Wi-Fi. I'd be asking everybody, what's the Wi-Fi? And as soon as I could connect, I'd be like, I'd see if there was a text, and if there wasn't a text, I'd be like, I literally was, like, so anxious, and truly I realized how weak I was. I realized how much of a shell I was. You know, looking back on it now, it's like, I genuinely was down bad. I genuinely had, like, no confidence. I felt terrible. And, you know, I didn't really have much self-love. I was trying to fill a void with somebody outside of myself, but that's not how things are gonna be. And so I remember in due time, this massive argument was happening, and it got to a point where I couldn't deal with it. I was like, I can't deal with the pain of being out here in this ending, that I, like, had to book a flight back home. And literally the only flights back home were, like, skyrocket prices. They were, like, high season. It was like $500 for a one-way trip from Dominican Republic to Boston. And usually I literally paid like $200 round trip just to get there. So I had to blow like $500 cash, which I needed my parents to help me with at the time because I was still stacking money. I didn't have much. So they helped me out with that. So I literally had to ask my parents for help to book me a one-way ticket, not back to Boston, to New York where she was, because I wanted to see her to try to fix things. Like, looking back on it now, like, truly it's kind of funny that I did all that, because it's like, bro, it really wasn't worth it. That was God giving me my signal that, bro, you gotta let this go in the rear view. But I booked it back to New York, and I remember I surprised her. Like, she was happy to see me. Everything was good, and that's when I was like, things were starting to kind of click, and I was kind of starting to realize, like, yo, like, something's off with this. Like, how come I'm over there and you're treating me so differently? You're treating me terrible and gaslighting me, saying you're never gonna talk to me again. And then you see me in person, you're all like excited and all hoo hoo ha ha, and everything's good. So literally, I remember we hung out that night. We ended up staying at my aunt's house, who lived on Long Island. And I remember we went out that night. I took her to a lantern festival because I wanted to do something romantic. And literally, that was great. It was a great time. Like, we had a beautiful time. It was super romantic, super great. And then out of nowhere, we just got the idea, yo, let's go to a bar. Yo, this is where, like, I look back on those times, it's like, bro, I was literally full degen. So we go to a bar, college bar, and we're just, like, drinking there. I'm like, I drank so much, and I had to drive. I was driving the Camaro, too. For those of you guys that know, I have a Camaro. I had my Camaro there. So I was driving the Camaro, and literally, like, this was just so stupid. Like, I was with, there was like midnight, we're in like the Bronx, New York, at some little bar, drinking. There's a bunch of college kids. And I remember looking around that bar drinking, I was like, holy fuck. Like, if this is the rest of my life, bro, I might as well just, like, give it up here. I was literally looking around at all these college kids, all drinking, vaping. Like, I was like, holy shit, Ivan, what are you doing? And I felt that in my heart. But, like, my flesh was like, yo, I'm already here with my girl. Like, I'll just do it. It's fine. But deep down, I was like, bro, this shit makes me sick. This makes me sick to know that I have so much potential, yet I'm inside this bar with a bunch of degens who know nothing about their life and don't want to do anything with it. I felt sick to my stomach. And I remember I just kept drinking to numb it. We had to drive back to the crib, to my aunt's house at like 1 a.m. And I remember she fell asleep in the car, and I was just doing self-reflection. And I was like, dude, I don't want this to be the rest of my life. I don't want to be like miserable in a relationship and get drunk and drink just to kind of cope with the fact that I'm miserable. Like literally. And she wouldn't understand that because a lot of people don't understand that. But I always had this massive dream in my head to change tons of lives. But yet I was quite literally throwing it away. I was just drinking, numbing the pain. I literally would vape just to numb it. And it's like, I couldn't stand who I saw in the mirror. I couldn't stand my reality. I couldn't stand my life. I had to literally cope with it all. And so, whatever, boom, that weekend trip was a wrap. I went home, she went back to school. Everything was great for a while. You know, it kind of lasted a little 2-week period, and then the argument started up again. And I didn't realize it at the time, but it was literally just God calling out to me, telling me to end that relationship, to call it. And it took me going through way more suffering, getting cheated on later down the line and finding that out, being lied to multiple times, finding that out, to truly finally end things. And I guess I was just so clinged on to my flesh and so like attached to manufacturing the outcome that I wanted that I wouldn't just let it go to God. I wouldn't let it go, and it caused me so much pain and suffering. Like I literally remember after this trip, this is around September now, we're in around September, like I wasn't doing bad with sales. I was making the most money I'd ever made in my life, but I felt void. I felt void because I would do my sales, like I'd feel good, and then like the relationship I was in was just toxic. It wasn't good for me. It was truly just kind of frustrating to wake up every single day and get into some type of argument, some type of, disagreement. And it was because I didn't understand the term that when you're in a relationship, you got to be equally yoked. Now, the Bible says you need to be equally yoked with your partner. Now, what does that mean? That means that your partner and you got to be on the same type of timing mentally. I was with the girl who wanted to drink and party and have fun and just whatever, that life, you know what I mean? You can picture it. And me, I was deep in my self-improvement phase. I didn't want to be a loser. I didn't want to vape. I didn't want to drink. I didn't want to do any of that. But I felt like I had to make the relationship work. So quite literally, I self-destructed myself just to make something external work, which it didn't. Literally went terribly. And looking back on it, it was all my fault because I didn't surrender. I didn't understand that, when you're choosing a partner, it needs to be somebody that's going to not take away from you, but add to you, who's going to make you a better person. But I didn't see that at the time. I didn't understand that. Because when you understand the fact that, this person that I am committing to can literally make or break my reality, can make or break my life. I never really get upset about the relationship because it taught me so much. It made me realize what to look for in a girl. Nowadays I have an abundance of women who want to go out with me, a bunch of girls asking me to do stuff and to hang out. And it's like, I just say, I'm not really on that type of timer right now. We could do something more chill, but I'm not trying to take anything serious. And it's like, when you're valuable, you realize that this whole pool, a lot of women want you, like a lot, almost all of them. And it's like, I'm just not in a state of mind where I'm just gonna accept one because I see through it. As soon as I talk to a girl for 10, 15 minutes, I could tell, this girl could potentially be my wife, or she's just chill, we could be friends. You know what I mean? And it's like, once you have that mindset, you start to think in abundance, your life changes. You don't shortcome yourself, you don't settle. That's what I did in that relationship, was I settled. Great girl, like no doubt, even though she did a bunch of shitty stuff to me, like I got nothing but love for her. I know that deep down inside, she wanted to be the best she possibly could. That was just like her cap at that point in time. And I love her endlessly. I still want to see her win. I pray for her all the time because I don't hold hatred in my heart. But I just understand that wasn't the one for me. That wasn't what God wanted. And truly, it's like, as soon as you realize, like, bro, first of all, there's an abundance of women. There's an abundance of everything in this world. You just have a limiting belief in here that there isn't. And that's what I had. I was like, this relationship is all I need. This is all I've ever wanted. Like, this is the girl for me, that we're gonna make it work. I wasn't surrendering. I wasn't understanding. So to look back at that kid a year ago, insecure, in a toxic relationship, feeling terrible, hating who I saw in the mirror, to me now, confident, running an online fitness coaching business, being able to move wherever I want because I'm free. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that. It's crazy to think that my life changed that much. Like, genuinely, it's been a year. If you knew me a year ago, I'm a completely different person. If you knew me 3 months ago, before I got broken up with and that relationship ended, you know that I'm a different person now too. And it's crazy to say, you may be like, yo, only 3 months ago that relationship ended? Yeah, because I constantly wanted to make it work. I was attached to the outcome, and it wasn't even me who ended it, it was her. It was her. So, quite literally, you just need to have an abundance mindset and let life flow. I didn't let it flow. I was so stagnant. I was so attached to this reality I wanted to create that I was blocking all my blessings. I was literally stuck at like 497 followers on Instagram, something like that. I was literally stuck at like the same followers on Instagram. I was bouncing between there and like 505, like very small following. I'd probably gained like 100 followers since I started like my personal brand, social media, and my fitness coaching business back in November. I was still with her. And between the time span from November all the way to May, I probably gained like 100 something followers. And you want to know how much I've gained since that relationship ended 3 months ago? From May to now August, I went from 500 and something followers up to 1,000. I've literally 5x'd what I did. I literally went up over 500 followers on Instagram alone. I'm not even talking about YouTube. 3 months. And what I had done in December, January, February, March, April. What I'd done in 6 months, 100 followers in 6 months, did 503 after that. And that's when I realized, yo, this was blocking my blessings. YouTube, I gained over 300 subs within a month, like after the relationship ended. I'm literally telling you, the one thing that you're holding on to the most could be the one thing that is blocking all your blessings. It could be the one thing that is holding you back. It could be the one thing that is literally preventing God from blessing you with the life that you want. You just need to let go. You just need to let go. And one thing that's different about me now from me a year ago is that I understand that. I understand that some things need to be let go. Some things need to be left in the rear view. That's how you grow as a person. That's how you grow as a man, is understanding that. You just gotta leave that thing in the rear view that you're attaching to. You know, reflecting on my life now, like, in a year, progress is insane. I mean, now I'm doing what it would take me a week to do a year ago, I'm doing in one day. Like, my days are jam-packed with stuff. And it's because of the fact that it was hard. I went through the pain. Pain is the greatest teacher. Don't fear pain. Love it. Embrace it. I was so afraid of that relationship to end. I was so afraid of being heartbroken that it just made it worse. Literally, when the relationship ended, it wasn't even nearly as bad as what I had been going through during the relationship, because I was so afraid of this outcome that when it actually came, it was like nothing. I was like, okay, it wasn't even that bad. Like, pain is the greatest teacher. That literally changed my entire life. That relationship, that heartbreak, it changed my entire life, and that's why I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for everything that it taught me, because it made me who I am today. So guys, if you're in a similar situation, maybe you're with a girl who's not the best for you, and you know that deep down. Maybe you don't want to admit it, because when you're loving somebody, love is blind. You may not want to see it, but deep down you know. If this story resonated with you, this hits a few spots inside, you know. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go before it gets too far. Let it go before you got to go through what I go through, or what I had to go through and get cheated on. Just let it go. Break it off. And I promise your blessings are on the other side. And maybe you're in a point where, like, you want a relationship, but God hasn't put that person in your path yet. Just be patient. Don't settle. Don't be like, oh, this girl likes me and she's all right. You know, she goes to the gym and she's kind of into self-improvement, but she's also like drinks and parties on the weekends, and yeah, she vapes a little bit, like, but maybe I could fix her. Let go of that mindset, because guess what, bro? The woman that's meant for you, she's gonna have everything you've ever dreamed of. As long as you self-develop, she's gonna have everything you've dreamed of. You can't expect to be a loser and get this like amazing woman who's super strong and is going to add to your life when you're a loser. Those women want the highest value men. So when you improve to a high value man, you're gonna attract a pool of high value women. I'm telling you. Literally just do that. Just do that. And also, as you self-improve, you're gonna get an abundance of women. So you need to understand that there's gonna be distractions. You're still gonna attract women who aren't good for you, but you're also gonna have a few that are very, very beneficial to you. So keep that in mind as well. But I guess what I'm saying is, yo, your life can change so fast, so fast. I finished high school back in June. August, I was about 2 months out doing remote sales, not really knowing what to do with my life, insecure, unconfident, in a toxic relationship, was vaping, drinking, and now, wow. Like, wow. The difference is insane. I mean, to wake up every morning, grind my ass off, in the best shape of my entire life, as confident as ever. I walk into any room and my presence is felt. And it's because I practice what I preach. I live every single day and I do what I gotta do. This is life. Life is uncomfortable. It's a journey, but when you embrace that, you grow. You grow. If there's one thing I can share with you guys is do not under any circumstances become complacent. That relationship made me complacent. It made me comfortable. Women will make you comfortable. You also need to see that. They'll make you very comfortable, but you can't let that throw you off track. You gotta keep seeking pain, no matter what. No matter how sweet life feels, continue seeking pain, because that's how you grow. Seeking pain in the gym, seeking pain in the wake up, seeking pain in living your purpose. There's no greater experience. There's no greater experience. When you become a father, don't you want to be a father that your kids can look up to, or do you want to be a loser that vapes and smokes weed and drinks and still beats his meat? What do you want? What do you want to be? I know I don't want to be any of that. I know I want to be the most amazing dad. I want to pull up to school and all my kids' friends and kids, other kids' parents are staring at me, being like, yo, who is this guy, bro? This guy's a G. Like, I don't want to be a loser. I want my presence to be felt. I want to change the lives of millions. I don't want to waste my life away. And you shouldn't settle for that either. That job that you're in that you don't like, you know you're meant for more, bro, you can have it. You can have it. God gave you a brain. God gave you a body not to be here and be a slave to somebody else's reality. Create your own. Bro, you know you have these dreams in your heart. Don't settle for a retirement fund. Make it happen. Nobody wants to work until they're 60 years old and retire and then live 10 years and die. Bro, you can create your own reality. Imagine you just put in 2 hours a day for an entire year. Your life would be so different. So different. I'm telling you, you can change your life. You just gotta want it bad enough. You gotta outweigh the pain of staying where you are to the pain of just taking action. Bro, if you stay where you are, it hurts so much more than to actually just take action and do what's hard now. Because guess what? You want to be 80 on your deathbed regretting everything you did with your life, knowing you did nothing, or be 80 on your deathbed knowing, bro, I went all in on my life. I put in pain daily, and now I'm able to take care of my future family, of the generations to come, because I was locked in. I'll always be inspiration. I'll always be remembered. You know, the choice is yours. It's really up to you what you want to do. But guys, seek pain. Get after it. 2025 is literally over 65% done. Seek pain and get to it. Bro, you can be a different man by the start of 2026. I changed my life around within the course of months. I got broken up within May and we're in August. I've grown exponentially on all platforms. Have gotten my clients the best results. All the brothers inside the program are absolutely crushing it this summer. So happy for them. So happy to be a part of their journeys. And I'm telling you, if you just lock in, it all can change very, very fast. But for those of you that watched all the way to the end, much love. And for those of you who want more guidance, want to actually tap into who you're meant to be, take your life to another level, you're tired of being stagnant and want to be that guy by the start of 2026, apply for Built by Faith coaching down below. If you're a fit, we'll hop on a call, chop it up, and if it makes sense, we'll take it from there. But I will catch you guys on the next one.